Welcome, everyone. I'm Veronica Torres, and it's really fun to share January 1st with you. Happy New Year, and welcome to 2017. We're in it together, and it's a great place to be. I really was feeling into today's plans, and as I had nothing going on, I figured it would be a really special thing to throw the doors open, invite everyone who wanted to participate in the call to come on free as my gift and Elohim's gift to you to start off the new year, to hear their thoughts about the coming year and the transition between years. So that was my intention, and I'm really excited that so many of you wanted to participate with me in that. It's a very sunny day here in Sonoma. I'm about 45 minutes north of San Francisco in wine country. And although we had forecast rain, we have no clouds, so pretty sure it's just going to be sun, which is a fun way to start the new year as well. Just a couple bits of business before we get going. We have two things I thought, actually three. Three things I thought you might like to know about. One is that this year we're going to have our first ever Elohim retreat at sea. We're going to have a cruise on Princess Cruise Line in October. We'll leave from San Francisco, go down to Mexico, and stop a few places in California. It's a week-long cruise, and we'd love to have you join us. We'll have 3 channeling sessions and so much fun. And I just feel like it's going to be magical. Plus, Elohim will be so entertained about being on the ship that that'll be worth the price to come along anyway. So we have a really great cruise director who's organizing all of it for us, and we're just, ready for you to join us. So there's details about that in our Facebook group, and if you're not a member of the Facebook group, well, contact me and we'll get you in there. And also, you can always send me an email and we'll talk about it some more. So that's one thing. The other thing is a lot of times at the beginning of the year, folks are thinking about New Year's resolutions and ready to change things in their lives. And a great way to do that is a private session with Elohim, or even a series of private sessions that really support you and getting to the root of any problems, figuring out the energetic foundation of anything you're struggling with, and getting really easy to apply, ready to go tools to transform what you're experiencing. Elohim's all about evolution and transformation and getting you out of being stuck and habitual. So if you're needing support, if you're ready for empowered evolution and transformation and getting a life that you love, not just one you're coping with, we're here for you. So you can see all that information on our website, which is Elohim.com, Eloheim.com. Lastly, if you're ready to jump on board with us in a more regular fashion and listen to our meetings that we have at least 4 meetings a month, and subscription plans start at $30 a month, so you can be part of those meetings live and also the on-demand replays. We'd love to have you become part of the regular community and follow along and help us to expand the teachings. Elohim's work isn't about the same thing all the time. We're constantly pushing the envelope, constantly pushing forward into the next phase of being human. Elohim calls it Homo Spiritus, and boy, I tell you, my life is nothing like it used to be, utterly, just nothing. I used to be so afraid. I used to be so obsessive with my thoughts. I used to be so habitual. I was a mess. Let's just be real. And these days, with all that Elohim has taught us, the most magical things are happening constantly. And the most esoteric things, like time stopping, things going into slow motion, having needs and needs met happening simultaneously, having completely different experience of my body, being able to increase the temperature of the air surrounding my body by will. Stuff like that, too. So not only just, more peace, but trippy, cool, esoteric, superhero power stuff, too. It's a good time. You guys should join in. Anyway, that's on the website, too. So those are my announcements. And at the beginning of the year, it's kind of a fun time to look at maybe participating more fully and what we've got going on. Well, what do we have going on today is today we have the opportunity to talk to Elohim about what they know about 2017, about the energies of now, about the challenges we're facing, and about the opportunities for evolution that we're right in the middle of. So I think without any further ado, I should just round them up for you guys. I'm going to wait to turn it to Q&A until Elohim decides they want to take questions. So that way, hopefully, it will make it easier on everyone logging in. They don't accidentally push that Ask a Question button. All right, everybody. Thanks again for being part of this with me. It really feels awesome to begin the new year in this fashion. Give me just a moment of quiet, and then I'm going to grab Elohim for you. Hang on. Hello. Whoa, hi, everybody. This is fun. It's sunny. You're all here together, and it's the new year officially, according to the calendar and all that. So here we are, 2017. You know, it's always a really powerful time when the calendar changes to make decisions. Now, in traditional life, that's called resolutions. Be resolved to resolute to resolution. Something about that word, probably because people have such a strange relationship to the idea of making resolutions and not keeping them and feeling bad about that and feeling the pressure, and everybody's just out of the now and thinking about how they wish things were different, beating themselves up for having not done it last year, you know, all that stuff. That word resolutions has such a boatload of energy that it carries, and it's a long word, and each of the letters carries a load. So how about we just think of it a little bit differently? Just us together. We think about it a little bit differently. And the way we would like to think about that a little bit differently is this. Because the calendar has changed, and because society in general is looking at starting new things, that whole resolution thing, those folks who are living more consciously, light workers is a way to describe you, can say, I'm going to use that. I'm going to use that impulse that exists in society. I'm going to use that impulse that exists in society to remind myself of how I'm ready for transformation. Now, note we didn't say, remind myself that I'm ready to lose 10 pounds, or remind myself that I really should get a new job, or remind myself of anything. We said, remind yourself that you're ready for transformation. That's it. We don't want to put a bunch of heavy pressure on you guys. There's no point in that. It doesn't work anyway. You guys don't like being told what to do. But you do often appreciate reminders. And so our reminder is you're ready. You wouldn't be on this call if you weren't ready for transformation. Just breathe into that for a second. I'm ready for transformation. I'm not going to make a laundry list. I don't need a laundry list because I don't actually know what transformation I'm ready for. And that's great. Because anything that you've already lined up hasn't come from the current version of you. It's come from the past. Probably not even last year. Probably way before that. So the invitation here is to say, I am ready for transformation, and then look around your life and see where you're drawn to interact with your life in a transformed way. Now, it may be that your diet, it may be your exercise, it may be being financially a different person, or it may just be that you say, what am I ready to change in this moment? You know what? I'm ready to sit up a little taller in my chair. Or I'm ready to get up and do a couple push-ups because I just feel like moving my body more often. Or I'm ready to get up and drink a glass of water right darn now because I should be hydrating more. I know that. I know my body's asking for more hydration. None of these things are huge. None of these things are backbreaking. None of these things are involved in 5 months from now, 10 months from now, 12 months from now. They're all about this moment and having a transformed experience of right now. We call it step by step, meaning each moment gives you an opportunity. In each moment, you have an invitation to seize an opportunity for change, for transformation. A lot of times people do what we call the 50th step, which means instead of being on this step you're on right now, you're on 50 steps down the road, which is a fake place, And whenever you spend any time on the 50th step, you're being mean to yourself because you're putting pressure on yourself to operate in a place that you cannot access. You can't be on the 50th step, but your brain imagines you might be able to be, and the next thing you know, you feel so disempowered. Well, when I finally do get my website done, when I finally have my resume all lined out, when I finally have gone on some dates, when I finally have lost some weight, when I finally have taken care of these bills, then I will feel. Well, none of that helps. And it's cruel. And, we don't like you being cruel to yourself. It's literally cruel to engage with your dreams in that way. The kind way to engage with your dreams is to see what step you're on and then act on that step. Well, now, most of you are probably sitting down. So right now the step you're on is sitting down. Cool. What can you change in this exact moment about the fact that you're sitting down? Maybe you can move your feet a little bit, get some circulation happening. Again, like we said earlier, you can sit up a little bit taller. Maybe you can do some slight movement of your neck, stretch out your neck a little bit, or your wrists. Small things. Small things add up and make profound change. It really, 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 really does work that way. Small changes add up to profound transformation. It's the only way it really happens that's comfortable. One of our examples of this, it's a little bit of a blunt example, but you guys can handle a blunt example. Somebody's like, oh, man, I should have already lost 10 pounds. Okay, well, we don't lose 10 pounds by chopping off an arm. That's not ideal. That's one way to lose 10 pounds, but it's not the way we're seeking. Right? We're seeking step-by-step transformation. It's not, oh, man, I should have looked for a new place to live. Oh, boy, an earthquake came and knocked my whole house down. Now I have to. That's not ideal. You really don't want drastic transformation. It really doesn't fit well with the Homo sapiens perspective to have drastic transformation. It just doesn't. You get into this mindset sometimes where you say, I can't take it. I must have change. And you think a big change will solve that. But what we have observed is that big change results in increased stress. Small change adds up to a big transformation in a way that doesn't have to be increasingly stressful. So as our first thought about 2017, we want you to really grab a hold of that idea and at least try it out. Now, you don't have to agree with us. You don't even have to like the idea. But you could try it out. Try it out for a week. For a week, every time you think, oh, I need a big change, ask yourself, what can I transform right now? What small thing? And it can be ridiculously fun things. So let's say that you work where you sit down, and you always get into your chair from the right side. Start getting in from the left side. Literally, small things like that. We promise you. You do a bunch of those, your life will be different. It doesn't seem like it because you're used to imagining that only the big, big, big makes the difference, when it's just not true. All right, so that's the first thing we want to empower you with, right, as you face the idea of change and transformation. And when you run into folks who say, oh, I'm ready for a big change this year, you can say, what's one thing you can change right now? And most people will not be able to answer that question because they haven't ever thought of it that way. And then when 364 more days pass and it's 2018 and they haven't had any change because they never were willing to be changed small and they didn't never change big, they'll be right where they started. But you will not, because you were willing to change small. So you guys are on the Facebook group. Have fun sharing your ideas for small changes. You see, this is one of the ways that you can, and this is what we call a segue, get ready, be an energetic leader. Because a big, big, big part of 2017, the energies of 2017, is energetic leadership. What we mean by that is that people look outside of themselves for leadership. And at this time in your overall culture, some of your leaders are not representing very strong characters. They don't seem to have a lot of strong character. And we're not speaking about anyone specific. We're just talking in general. Your society has diminished its desire to have strong characters in leadership roles. It used to be more important, and lately it's not been. So when people look around for leadership examples and they are disappointed by what they see, they tend to feel really, really disempowered and lack hope. What we want to see is more people who are on the path of consciousness own their energetic leadership. And that doesn't necessarily mean running for public office, although it can. It doesn't necessarily mean writing a book or making speeches or any of that kind of stuff, although it can. What it means is that each day, in each moment, you offer the fact that you are willing to be conscious about your experience as your emanation in leadership. Now, what does all that mean? A perfect example is the one we just came up with. When somebody says, I'm ready for a big change, you can say, I've found. Always make I statements. Don't tell people what to do. They don't like it. They don't listen. I've found that small changes add up. Now, in addition to your words, you have your example where you notice small changes, you pay attention to small changes, you celebrate small changes. And you also have what we call your emanation, which is just the decisions you make. Hang on. Excuse us. The decisions you make affecting those that surround you without you having to say or do anything. You know what this is like because when there's a bunch of grumpy people in a room, you feel grumpy, or at least you're more likely to feel grumpy. You want to be the person who's offering that leadership of consciousness, that leadership of choice, that leadership of, hey, yeah, something's going on that you don't like. How are you going to interact with that? Are you interacting with it as a victim? Are you trying to make it go away? Are you trying to say it should be different? Or are you allowing yourself to have a legitimate interaction with what is legitimately happening? So often people want to dodge or pretend or hide away from something that's uncomfortable, when the reality is when you embrace it and say, all right, it's here, so I'm going to engage with it, you start to find the gems that are present in it. There's a reason why it's happening. Now, in the past we've said, let's find the reason. We don't like that as much anymore. You guys have evolved enough that we don't have to say that anymore. Rather than let's find the reason that it's happening, because that's very mental, we just say, it is. How am I going to choose to interact with this reality? I don't have to figure out why I created it, or figured out why my soul wanted me to experience it, or figure out what sort of karma I'm experiencing that's made it happen. I don't have to do any of that. What I have to do is choose how I'm going to respond to the fact of it, period. Choose how I'm going to respond to the fact of it. So we have an example from Veronica's life. She, as you can hear in her voice, has congestion, and she's been coughing a lot. And so at first, she had the typical response to congestion and coughing, which is go away. Give me the medicine that makes it go away today. I don't want this to be happening. Go away, go away, go away, go away. And a little bit of I suck because it's happening. You know, something's broken in me because it's happening. I did something wrong that it's happening. Oh, God, I went and spent time with people who are sick. That's why it's happening. And so the mind kicks in and tries to explain and explain and explain and explain and explain. And the whole time she's coughing and coughing and coughing and feeling like a victim. This is not the best way to handle things. Finally, it occurred to her that in her resistance to the coughing, she was sort of only half coughing. She wasn't letting her body actually fully express itself. And she thought, well, that's probably not very good. That's probably not a smart idea. If the body needs to cough, doing half cough is probably not good. This is how Veronica every once in a while says things. That's probably not the right thing to do, is it? So instead she decided to honor the body and honor the fact that it needed to cough and to just go for it and just cough as much as the body wanted to cough. And she found if she pushed on her face with her hands, she could cough even harder and really let the body express, because her face hurt from shaking when she was coughing. So she would push on it really hard and then lean into her hands as she was coughing and really let it have its experience. And what she found when she did that was amazing, which was she would have a bout of coughing, and then she would realize, oh my God, I'm remembering something that happened in the past. And she could feel herself releasing memories that were painful. She could feel herself releasing relationships that had turned difficult. She could feel herself opening up to feeling her lungs and her chest in a new way. She started having alternate expression experiences, which is what we call past lives. So she would have alternate expression bleed through as she was coughing of other lifetimes where difficult things had happened. And as she was coughing and the mucus was moving, she could feel that she was cleansing, not just, getting rid of snot, but cleansing, letting go, releasing, transforming. And the body was her teammate, not some stupid thing that had gotten sick, and how dare it. She wasn't a failure for having picked up a germ or a virus. She was actually honoring that the body only has so much vocabulary. It only has so many ways of offering its part of the healing and transformational journey. And the coughing was a really big contribution. It was offering something extremely important to the spiritual work that she does with us. The body was, in essence, catching up through this coughing. And it was honoring to honor the body in that way. Now, she's never felt this way before in all her 48 years. But boy, did it change things for her when she looked at it that way. That's another version of energetic leadership, the idea that other people might be saying, oh, it's too bad that you're sick. And she's saying, it's actually so profound. It's such a gift. It's like, whoa, wait a minute. You can look at it that way? That could be true too? I've never been told that it could be a gift like that. You mean it really can? Energetic leadership. Not telling anybody else it should be a gift for them, but saying, wow, it's a real gift for me to be having this experience. Small changes are adding up. Every cough is contributing. Energetic leadership. It's something we've talked about a lot in the past and we'll be talking about a lot going forward, those opportunities. Because a lot of people are complaining about the leaders that they have. Complaining is not energetic leadership. What can you do in your lap, in your life, in your chair as you sit there to make small change that adds up? Okay, one more thing that we want to tell you about the energies of 2017, and this is part of our ongoing teachings. As we make the move into Homo Spiritus, we're actually evolving the physical form. Now, that's not woo-woo talk, right? We're not just going, oh yes, we're evolving the physical form. Think good thoughts, bunnies and rainbows. No, that's not what we're doing. What we're doing is actually evolving the physical form, transforming the experience of being on planet Earth, giving you an opportunity to live as a human in a way you've never lived as a human before. It's cool. And boy, are we making some serious progress on this project. We've been working on it for some years now, and we are in it. We'd love to have you participate. Help us. Be part of what we're doing. So part of that, the part of it that we're on right now is what we're calling detaching from duality. Detaching from duality. You cannot not have duality because you've got gravity, right, up, down. You've got dead, alive. You've got sunshine, not sunshine, dark night, dark light. Earth is a dualistic place. That's just reality. So duality will continue, but you do not have to be so much of a player in the world of duality as you have been. In fact, energetic leadership is detaching from duality. Now, this is going to look a million different ways, but the one way that it looks right now in this moment is what we call finding the third way, meaning there is always more than yes, no, right, wrong, up, down. There's always more. And especially given the transition in governments that's been happening lately pretty much everywhere, it's very easy to plunk yourself down in duality and stick there. And it will not help. It will not help you evolve. It will not help your society evolve. And it will not support transformation in general. Detaching from duality means I will seek the third way. Now here's the thing about the third way. It's not comfortable. Of course it's not comfortable, because you already know how you would default, what habit would tell you to do. Survival instinct, authority figures. You already know what you would do. And you see someone else doing something that's, let's say, opposite that. And they're comfortable in their opposite of you place. Both of you are comfortable in your dualistic stances. In order for you to then find the third way, you must be willing to be uncomfortable. You must be willing to stretch out of your comfort zone. You must be willing to allow new thoughts and ideas some time in you. And you must be willing to see that other person not as an other, but as another. This is hard because sometimes other people have extreme views in your opinion, and they're angry, or they're violent, or they're difficult, and you want to say, no, you're wrong. Okay. From duality? Absolutely. But you're sharing the planet with these people, folks. And if they're standing right in front of your face, it's time to seek the third way. But you've got to remember, you're going to feel uncomfortable, at least at the beginning. You're going to feel uncomfortable because you're opening up to leaving your comfort zone. Now, it's super easy to gather a bunch of people around you that all believe the same way you do and make an echo chamber. And actually, that's a powerful thing. We do it with our work, right? We've got the people who understand what we're talking about and want to talk about it some more. Great. So there is power in that sense of being around people who agree with you. It's when you run into somebody, and on the Internet, all you have to do is take a breath, and there somebody is. When you run into somebody who's not in your group, who doesn't agree with you, what do? Do you retreat into duality, or do you say there's got to be a third way? Now, of course, you can't get the other person to say third way, but you can do your part. You can do your part. How do you do that? Well, mostly what you say is, I am not going to stay solid on my I know I'm right place. I'm going to be willing to say there are more things I don't know than things that I do. Right now, I feel strongly that this is the position that's correct. However, I can see that you feel strongly that a different position is correct. So I am willing to be open to what you feel. Now, sometimes it's just a clarification that, nope, actually I was okay with how I felt. And sometimes it's not. Now, if it's some random person on the Internet you're never going to see or hear from again, it might be easier to detach from this. But, a lot of people have reported in, we're in America, so they just had an election, and a lot of people have reported in oh my God, my boyfriend, my husband, my wife, my sister, my daughter, my best friend voted in the presidential election differently than I did. And now I'm doubting that relationship. I'm doubting that friendship. I'm doubting that connection. Now, you use duality, and that relationship's going to be damaged. You seek the third way, and you'll be doing the healing work that your entire society, in fact, your entire world needs. So start with the people that you love. You've loved this person for 20 years. You find out they voted differently than you. That doesn't mean there's somebody you didn't know they were. It means there's aspects of them that you have yet to learn about. And here you have the opportunity to grow closer as you explore the why. Why did you vote that way? Why is that important to you? What about it do you feel is really needed? And you use it as an opportunity to change, to improve and transform, become healthier. Duality is a very Homo sapiens thing. As we move into Homo spiritus, you will see that duality loses its charm. It's more interesting to you to connect to another than it is to be right. Okay. Those are the three main things that we wanted to share with you today. So what we were thinking we could do is take some calls. That's the right word. We could let you guys ask questions is what we're trying to say. And see, and keep it on like the 2017 idea, right? We want to stay focused. So this isn't private session time. This is your examples or your questions about how 2017 energies are shaping up. So Veronica tells us we have to change this button. Hang on. We're going to click this thing right here. Oh, we hope we click the right. No, we're going to click that. And then we're going to change this over here. All right, check us out. Let's see. Now, if you want to talk to us, you press *6 or you click the Q&A button. All right, people want to talk to us. Well, let's start with Bartek. Hello, Bartek.
Hi, Eloheim. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can.
Okay, great. I have a very simple problem. There are some changes that will take place at the office, and I just do not know how to relate to that. I am in the middle of some negative stories in my head, and I find it very difficult to actually relate positively to these changes. I know they will take place, and I can't help thinking of the worst scenario.
Okay, this is a perfect example, right? Can you give us an example of a change so that we can use it as an example?
I would probably change the position in the company.
Okay, so you're going to get a new position in the same company. Yeah. And is this because you want to or because they're telling you have to? Hello? Oh, where'd he go? Where'd he go? Bartek, are you there? What happened? Hello? We were all ready to talk to Bartek about his job. Well, let's not do. I'm not sure what you do now. This is all, we've never done this before, so we're confused. Hang on. Q&A session. We're going to just push this button because we can't hear. Oh, wait, maybe he's typing. Oops, sorry. What does that mean, oops, sorry? Push the button. Okay, Bartek, we're going to hang up on you and then you call us back. Or click it. Cred, we don't know what to do. We've never done this before. Let's push this button. We've never done this. Okay, he can't unmute himself, so let's see if we can unmute him. Bartek. All right, we have to drop you and you have to come back on. All right, push the *6 again, Bartek. So, where'd he go? Anyway, so we'll start answering his question while he's figuring out how to get back on with us. So here's a situation where, your job's changing and the idea is that the fear is only bad things are going to happen in this job change. And this is actually something that probably a lot of people imagine happening with, you had your Brexit, you had your USA election. So this is something pretty much everybody has a way to relate to, is change is going to happen, and it's only going to be bad, bad, bad. And we understand that because, one, change is super scary in general, and two, when you're faced with the idea of change that's unknown or unexpected, it just amps up everything. Here's the deal. It doesn't help you one teeny little bit, not one teeny little bit, to go into a change only imagining that it's going to be bad. Now, you might be able to say, well, he might give you all the reasons why it's going to be bad, and we can say, okay, you can give us all the reasons why it's going to be bad, and it still does not help you one little bit to imagine only the bad things. This is another example of energetic leadership, going into a situation, staying open, that here he's back. Let's get him here. Okay, can you hear us now?
Hello.
Oh, there you are. Okay, we've been talking. Okay. We've been answering your question while you were away.
I'm so sorry for this.
That's okay. Don't worry about it. So what we were saying just briefly is that it does you no good whatsoever to imagine only the bad things that can happen with a change of any kind, especially in a job, because, of course, that's going to kick off survival instinct because it's your paycheck and blah, 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 blah. So first things first is that temptation to feel only aware of the potentially bad changes. Mm-hmm. You have to let that one go. And you have to trust yourself that as you engage with this change, that you will bring to the table all of your abilities. It's not just that you're getting shunted off into another part of the company and you don't get to bring any of your strengths with you. It's a bit like when you're playing that game Monopoly, and it's not like, go to jail, don't pass go, don't get your $200, don't get nothing, just go to jail. It's not that. It's, wow, here's an opportunity for me to really bring my A game to a situation that feels like a D situation. That's what this is. This is a chance for me to bring my A game here. And it's a chance for me to have a real consciousness and a real mindfulness about the fact that as I choose my reactions to my experience, I'm setting up the next experience I'm going to have. One of the things that's happened this year is Veronica has gotten completely away from reassurance. She's not interested in reassurance at all. So if we were saying to you, it's going to be okay, Bartek, it's actually going to turn out better than you think, we're lying. We don't know. I mean, it might, but it might not. So we're not reassuring you of an outcome here. What we're saying to you is that we know you can bring a lot to this change that goes far beyond your job skills. And in that, you have the opportunity to make choices about your experiences rather than just go with the first feeling that you get. That you can seek the third way, that you can be the person who says, I want to be a leader in this transition. And how it's going to go, how the vibe of it, if you like that word, is going to be. You still get to be a chooser, even if the dynamic makes you feel like it would be super easy to imagine yourself as a victim. You're still a chooser. You're still choosing how you interact. Do you understand that, Bartek?
Yes. I'm listening to you and trying to make that sink in. Yeah. I do get you. I do get you.
Yeah. So when you go in there and the situation happens and you move, the temptation is going to be, let's just imagine you're sitting at your new desk, just for an example. You're sitting at your new desk and, your chair feels different. And so the temptation is to focus on the fact that you don't like your chair. This is a silly example. You know us. When there are literally a countless number of things that have changed, and the fixation on the chair makes everything else unseeable. So one of the things that you can also do is to really require of yourself that if you think of 5 things you don't like, you have to think of 5 things that are at least neutral, if not enjoyable or positive. And that requirement to analyze and navigate your new experience with the eyes of, I'm looking for the things that are positive here rather than just cataloging the things that suck. That's energetic leadership as well. Go ahead.
Actually, the most triggering thing in the situation was that I have no idea how it's going to play out, but it's possible that I will be paid a little bit less. My job in the new position may be a bit easier than what I do now, but I may be paid a little bit less.
Yeah.
So I just fixated on that. I thought, I have my budget, and I don't know, how I'm going to balance it out, and
and it may be an invitation to leave that company, right? It may be something where you say, look, this doesn't work for me. It just doesn't work.
Yeah.
Because there's that too, right? They're saying, well, this is what we're inviting you to do, and you're like, no thanks. You have to always remember that when you're interviewing with a company or even interviewing a partner or a date, you're seeing if you want to interact with them. You're seeing if that's where you want to use that dynamic for your growth. You're seeing if it works for you. So if they're making you an offer that doesn't work for you, it's totally okay to say, hey, this doesn't work for me. And that might mean more change, and that can be scary. But if it's your truth, it's your truth. Do you understand?
Yes, I do. Yes,
right?
I do.
So this is a big opportunity for you to discover what your truth is. Do you want to work for a company that would change your position and lower your pay? Are you going to feel like giving them your best effort? Is this legitimately the right position for you?
Actually,
and a lot of people are afraid to ask themselves those questions because they get on the 50th step and think, but then, instead of, I just want to know what my truth is. My truth is this feels pretty crappy. I've worked for this company. Now they're moving me to another position. I might make less money. That feels crappy. Or maybe it feels like, God, they're giving me an easier job. That feels like a relief. We don't know which one it is. That's up to you.
Well, it's a bit of both, and that's the dilemma. I like the idea, like my job is quite stressful, so less work to do equals less stress, and I like that. But if I'm paid less, I'm like, I don't know,
But so maybe you're less stressed. You use the leftover energy in a way that brings in income in a different form.
Yes, I thought about that. Yes, indeed.
Right?
Yeah.
To see how what we're trying to do is invite you to see all these different viewpoints on it. Whereas your survival instinct and your budget wants you to see one viewpoint, we're inviting you to try to find different viewpoints. That's the third way. Now, it's not to say that any of the things we brought up are things you're going to act upon, but we have found it to be incredibly empowering for people when they invite themselves to think of all these different options. Because then all of a sudden you don't feel like you're just trapped in one place. Just like you go to your new desk, invite yourself to see all the aspects of it, not just the parts that bug you. We've got to have this broader, non-dualistic perspective, and this is a great practice for that. It's asking yourself to say, what more can I see here? And what happens when you do that is you invite in insight from your soul, not just what you can think of with your brain. And that's important. That's 2017 in a nutshell. All right, Bartek, we're going to say goodbye to you for now because we have other people waiting and we want to try to get to everybody. But it was nice hearing your voice.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
And we're available for a private session if you want to dig into it deeper, but we think that'll get you well started.
Great. Thanks.
Okay, here we go. Let's see. Oh, we're going to drop him. Go to the next person. There's 4 people in the queue. We're going to pick you guys up. Just give us a minute to get to everybody. Hi. Hello, you're on now. We don't have your name because it only has your phone number. Who's this?
This is Julia.
Hi, Julia.
Thanks for taking my call. I really appreciate you having this call, both of you.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
I'm dealing with, let me just take you. Might be a little better, hopefully. I'm dealing with some issues around fear and transition. The ending of 2016 and the beginning of 2017, and just really feeling kind of a dissatisfaction with every aspect of my life, and kind of feeling this need to just get rid of everything. And I'm not sure if this is a fear reaction, like I'm doing this as an escape, really like feeling like I don't want to go back to my job on Tuesday.
Yeah.
And I want to leave the apartment that I rent, and I want to just, run off to Africa and be a mommy for, elephant orphans, right?
Right.
And I don't know if this is really a real transition or if this is fear and escape.
Okay, it's fear and escape because you don't, let's say it this way. When you want to change every single thing about your life at the exact same time, fear and escape, right? However, it's also an indicator that you're ready. You're ready for something to change. So we need to narrow down where that something should come from, because you can't just change everything simultaneously. It's not good for your body. Let's just say it that way. It's not good for your body, and it won't feel safe, right? It won't feel safe to change everything at once. So you're talking about moving your apartment. You're talking about not liking your job. You're talking about relocating to Africa.
Now, if you the cat, I'm not sure how that's going to work, though.
Yeah,
I will keep the cat.
If you relocate to Africa, it does take care of the apartment and the job thing. We're just wondering how the money works out. But how about we set Africa aside just for a second, and we look at the job and the apartment together, just because we don't have that much time together today, and this will probably be a little bit more practical. If you could change one thing, now here's the thing, this is our magic wand tool. If you had a magic wand and you could only change one thing, now don't give us a list because that's not one thing. If you could change one thing about either the job or the apartment, what would you change?
That's really tough because they're so intertwined.
Yeah. So just pick one thing. And everybody who's listening, do this with us. Pick the one thing you would change in your whole life. You can pick your whole life. It doesn't matter. It's just the one thing. This is the doorway to transformation. Because what happens is people have a laundry list and they just jump between all the items on the list, and nothing ever changes. So when we force you to pick one thing, that focus helps us find the doorway to transformation for you. It also helps you to know what your truth is.
Yeah, I think when I really think about it, it's leaving the state, moving to a different state.
Okay.
The issue is I don't know where. Nothing else is resonating, so I feel a little stuck here.
And why do you need to get out of whatever state you're in?
it feels really crowded. I grew up in the country, and I'm getting older, I'm feeling a yearning to be more in the open spaces, and I'm starting to feel more and more uncomfortable with the pace of life and the amount of people basically on top of each other.
So here's the clarity you've just gotten 2 layers of clarity. One is the desire to move probably has less to do about your apartment or even your job or even Africa. The desire to move comes from, I'm ready to live in the country again. Mm-hmm. That's clarity. Yeah. You see how we just moved? It only took 30 seconds once you finally said what it was, right? Oh, the truth is I want to live in the country. Now, here's the question. Can I live in the country and keep my job?
That's the challenge, because I'm a tech worker in Silicon Valley.
Okay. So the answer is, unless you work remotely, probably not. Can you work remotely?
Possibly.
Yeah, right? Because there's lots of companies who need your skills.
It's interesting. Like when I clarify it, though, then I bring up fear. Like, well, if I, that monkey mind that says, well, you have a good thing here. Your 5-mile commute. You shouldn't leave a good thing.
Yeah,
exactly.
And
then the fear
except it's
comes
not
up
a good thing.
About
change. Hang on. We're going to interrupt you because it's not a good thing. You are not happy. Yeah. So it's not a good thing. So don't let the survival instinct lie to you. What it is a thing that gives you money and a short commute. Mm-hmm. That is not equal to a good thing, you see? That's why it's important to tease these facts out of the big problem. Because the big problem is a big full brain of all of this. But the reality is I have what other people might consider to be a good thing, but it requires me to live in a crowded area, and that's not healthy for me at this time. So I'm not going to focus on the fact that I have a good thing I'm giving up. I'm going to focus on this has given me the opportunity to become clear that it's not what I want. Mm-hmm. Ah, right? Mm-hmm. It's not what you want.
Yeah. It's interesting.
So it's traditionally
that feels emotional and scary at the same time.
Yeah, of course it's scary. Change is scary. It's also scary to do something that's not what everybody else thinks you should do.
Right.
You've got a good job with a tech company.
Yeah, the safe
right?
option.
So your truth is, I have what many people would consider a good job, and it's making me bonkers because I can't stand living in this crowded situation anymore. What I need to do is take my skills, like we were telling Bartek, take my skills, which include acting on my truth, not just type, but actually acting on my truth, being an energetic leader, and apply all of that to a job that allows me to work remotely. Or a company out in the boonies that needs a tech person. There might be one of those too.
Yeah. Like maybe
that's
an
elephant
rescue in Africa that needs a tech person.
There might be elephant rescue in Africa that needs a tech person. But see, now, instead of elephant rescue in Africa kind of sounding like this fanciful idea, now you know why you want to be an elephant rescue in Africa person, because you want to live where it's less crowded. Mm-hmm. That's the underlying thing.
And where there's more elephants.
And where there's more elephants. Well, and you're also like, I have to get out of this state. There are places in California where you will not see another person for a long, long drive. So it's not getting out of this state. It's not I have to go to Africa. It's not I have to quit my job. It's I know I don't want to live in a crowded environment anymore. Period. So what are my options?
Yeah.
What are my options now that I know that? What are my options now that I know that? That's clarity. That's how we work.
That's
listen to or make
really
the deep
helpful.
Breath. Totally helpful. We can tell.
Well,
you know how we can tell? We can feel it in your body. So if you need more support on this, we'd be happy to do private sessions with this process with you more. But we need to go to the next person because we're trying to get to everybody.
And thank you so much.
Oh, you're so welcome.
The kicker, too, what you said is, just because everyone thinks this is a good situation doesn't mean it's good for me. That was extremely helpful.
That's what we call gate latch.
I think we get in that mindset that, I should appreciate this because everyone says it's good.
Everyone else says it's good. You wouldn't be on the phone with us if it was good for you.
Mm-hmm. You're right.
Yeah. Okay, what we're going to do is
just
You're so welcome. Everybody, don't hang up. We just have to use the bathroom, and it'll take us literally 20 seconds. But you can go, but everybody else, just give us a minute because Veronica's doesn't want us to try to hold it. Hang on. Okay, we're coming back. Okay. We always like to have to go to the bathroom. It's fun. Okay, next person. Hello. We don't know your name. Hi. Who's this?
Hi, this is Bree. How are you?
Hi, Bree. We are well.
Yeah, thank you for this session. Actually, you know what? You already answered so many of my questions.
That's wonderful. We're very happy to hear that.
Yeah, you know, when you talked about Veronica's cough, and, that's perfect for me. I mean, it's the reality for me right now. When you said cough is the reality, I was like, oh, that's it. But I do have a question. Yeah, that really helped me. I do have a question. It's just so weird that first of all, I wanted to ask you how my, recovery is going with respect to my lungs. We spoke.
Okay, Bree, we can't do private session type stuff today. We're really trying to stay on subjects that help everybody because we have so many more callers that want to get on. So if we can talk about things that you think will apply to everyone, that would be better for today's call.
Okay, just let me ask you one thing. Why did my energy suddenly change the moment I decided to go on the conference call? And, it just suddenly changed. That's kind of weird.
How did it change?
I don't know. It's kind of like as if it is suffocating or gasping for air or something that is something that it's scared of something not wanting to do.
Well, you're having a situation with your lungs that the folks in the Facebook group know all about, and part of what goes on, we believe, for you is that you are at a time when you're really looking at what your truth is, and you've had a lot of people in your life telling you what they think is good for you for a long, long time. And so as you start to say, look, I'm not going to breathe in all of your stories. I'm not going to breathe in all of your information, all of your energy, all of your stuff, all of your anger, all of your frustration. When you start to say, I don't want to breathe in everybody right now, what happens is you think about getting on a call, even with us, someone that you trust, but you still are like, look, I want everybody else's stuff to stay away from me. I want everybody to give me a chance to know my truth.
Oh, God, you're so spot on. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. All right, it was nice to hear your voice. We better jump to the next person because we have 4 more still in the queue. Nice to hear your voice, Bree. Take care.
Okay, you too.
Eva, hello.
Hi, Eloheim. How are you?
We are well. How can we help you today?
Hi. Well, it's just that when Bartek was talking about his work, I just thought I'll kind of pipe in with mine because I started work about 2 months ago in a new place, in a physiotherapy center where I was a receptionist on a part-time basis. And to cut long story short, I was there for 2 months, and I now haven't got a job. Just before Christmas, I was called in for one-to-one meeting assessment, and the upshot of that was that they let me go. Now, that sort of, I felt a sense of relief. It was a sort of a, shall we say, very fast learning curve from many aspects of your teachings, in a sense. I found it very difficult to find a third way, and I tried very hard with the 2 ladies that were teaching me. And I think what, sort of the dynamic that played out there with the mistakes I was making whilst I was trying to learn the system and become competent, with the job. But I think I was being actually bullied. I've never experienced that before, but I think that's what actually happened, because I kind of like stood up to at one point because I felt like almost like being tearful inside me, that I was on the verge of walking out once. And when I was being like pressed, what were you thinking? What were you thinking? I kind of like rose up and said, well, I don't know what I was thinking. I had to put a sort of a boundary there because, I felt I was being attacked. But when I went for my one-to-one meeting, I was in two minds as to whether I actually do want to continue with this job. And it was almost preempted, and they said, well, I am not suitable. And so I am now in a place where it's not so much that I wish that I carried on with the job, but I'm in a sort of open space almost. It's like the sort of room you were describing, of a kind of a nothing room, especially with the holiday period, people disappearing to see their families, and my family doing their thing. That's where I am at the moment. I think that's all I really wanted to share. I'm not quite sure whether it's a question as such.
Sometimes there's just that witnessing, and it feels like one thing that's good, because the job thing is up to date in this call, and one thing to keep in mind is sometimes you're just not a match.
Yes.
It's not like every job, every relationship, every person you date, every friend you have. It's not there's not some overall law that says you have to be a match forever.
That's true.
And relationships can be quite short in this time as well, where you meet each other and you bounce off each other and you've changed each other's trajectories, but it doesn't mean that you relate for a long period of time. So it sounds like you weren't a match, and you got to find that out early, which is a blessing.
Yeah.
All right, we're going to go, Eva, because we have so many other people that want to talk to us. Okay, take care, sweetie. Bye-bye.
Thanks, bye.
Well, hello, Connie. Can you hear us?
Yes, I am with you.
Oh, Connie. It has been such a long time. Veronica is so happy to hear your voice.
Thank you. I am so happy to be here and to listen to all the things that you said this morning that you have previously covered. I thank you for your wise suggestions, and I know that if I follow them, I will be able to make my 2017 a lot easier.
Oh, that's beautiful. That is so beautiful. Veronica was just thinking about you a couple of days ago because she's carrying the purse that you sent to her, and someone complimented her on it, and she said, I've had this purse for a while because Connie sent it to me. And the person said, I know Connie, how is she? And so they were just thinking good thoughts about you just the other day.
Well, thank you. For everybody that's interested, I am doing great. Probably I'm feeling better than I have ever felt in my life, and because of your help.
This is beautiful.
This is beautiful. I'm hoping to see you this year.
Veronica says, are you coming on the cruise? Oh, she would love it if you came on the cruise.
Oh, I'm not aware. I think I heard about, I'm going to inquire about that.
Yes, the cruise. Oh, you've made Veronica's day, just the thought that she gets to spend time with you. That is beautiful.
Now something changed. I wasn't planning on going to a cruise in 2017.
Now you're going to come on a cruise with us. We're going on a ship, Connie. We're going to go in the ocean. Oh, we just can't wait. It's going to be so cool. October. We're going to be cruising.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
What a joy to hear your voice.
Thank you so much. And you started my 2017 in a very different way, and very loving and very hopeful, very positive. I thank you for that.
Oh, you're so welcome. Veronica's face is getting sore because she's smiling so big hearing your voice. You don't even know, like her what are they called, cheeks? Her cheeks are getting so sore because she's smiling so big. All right, Connie.
A big kiss and embrace.
All right, big kiss right back. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Oh, what a joy that was. Hi, Karen.
Yes, hi.
So, how can we help you today?
It's been a while. So this is probably not necessarily a question either, but when you were talking about the third option, that has been something I think I've been practicing for a little bit now. I've been in many, many situations where my opinion is different than everybody else's in the room or most people in the room, and it's been a challenge to feel free to state what my opinion is without making me sound contrary or making somebody else wrong, or like that's been, I've been sort of playing with how do I still be able to express myself without making somebody else feel wrong or
exactly. Now
here's that I'm like the bad guy or something.
Yeah. Here's the key to that is I statements. I feel, my experience has been, it's my understanding, I read something that indicates this. You're never telling them how they should be. You're just saying your thing, your thing, your thing over and over and over again. And then you listen to what they say, and this is where, you guys are the grown-ups in the room, the grown-up light workers. You listen to the other person to see where what they're saying can dovetail with part of your thing. Not all of your thing. You can't have all of it, but part of what you're saying. When you say, what you just said reminds me of when I had, when this was, right? You go back to you, back to you, back to you, back to you, back to you. But not in the sense of like I'm right and you're wrong, but in a sense of my experience has always been. This is really fascinating to me because your experience is so different, things like that.
Mm-hmm.
With the goal of the third way, not the goal of getting them to do it your way. And that's the thing that your society doesn't teach. Your society teaches, get entrenched and get people on your side. When we're saying the goal now is to find the third way, and everyone's uncomfortable. But you end up with a better end result as you move through that discomfort, everyone being discomfort together. Now, the thing is, lots and lots and lots of people have no training on how to be uncomfortable. They don't know how to be in uncertainty. They don't know how to be in I don't know. And so you're the energetic leader in that as well. I know it's uncomfortable when you don't, when everybody doesn't agree. However, when you were talking, I saw a place where we have common ground, seeking common ground. And you have a strong personality, so it can be really easy for you to be like, do it my way, man. I'm right. I'm smart. I know things. So for you, this is a stretch not just with your words and your language, but with your presentation, your body language, your energetic.
Definitely.
That's where the challenge is for you more than any other place.
Yeah.
Because you're not afraid to find the third way. You just kind of can be a little gruff about your presentation if you're not careful. And if you feel defensive at all, that's going to be where you're going to fall back to.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a thing to be really aware of. Is all of a sudden you start realizing, I'm feeling a little gruff here. I'm feeling a little defensive here. I can feel myself standing in a way that feels aggressive. That's you. One of the ways you find the third way is to take away that comfortable stance in your body and go into a more open, passive, which will be uncomfortable, new, but more constructive in finding a third way that works for everybody.
Interesting.
You understand?
Yes,
yeah.
I do. Thank you.
Yeah.
That's an interesting challenge for me.
Yeah, so it's perfect, right? Because you're going to know that to be more passive for you is to be uncomfortable. But to be uncomfortable is saying, I am willing to find the third way. And what we mean by saying you have to be uncomfortable means that it's super comfortable for you to know what you know and to be entrenched in your dualistic side of the equation. That's a comfortable position. Now, you might be mad, you might be pissed off, you might be frustrated, but it's still comfortable because it's familiar. But for you to say, I'm going to soften my body language, even though I don't feel like my position is changing, I'm going to soften my body language just to see what happens. That's you being uncomfortable in uncertainty, but moving toward a solution, which is going to make everybody more satisfied. Mm-hmm. If you find a solution, you're all going to be more satisfied, but there's a period of discomfort everyone's going to move through in order to get to that satisfaction, because everybody has to change a little, and change is typically uncomfortable.
And some of the most uncomfortable thing for me is holding back from, like, if people are talking about something and I don't agree, and I realize, like, it's not going to help anybody for me to pipe up.
Yeah.
It's very uncomfortable for me to not put my 2 cents in.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of times when I feel like it just wouldn't make sense to just stir the pot for no reason.
And if you imagine that when you're doing that, you've got your arms crossed, maybe you have a hard look on your face, right? And so as you recognize, oh, here's one of those times, I'm going to keep my mouth shut, but my body open. because I want us to find a solution. And I don't have words to add, but I can add the I want solution energetic. I'll do that.
Yes.
And you can do that, and it will be a challenge. And you'll be like, all right, Elohim, fine then. I'm going to just open my arms in this moment rather than cross them. I'm going to do it. And then catch yourself wanting to close your arms. And whatever the other person's saying may become less interesting than you learning that skill. It may be that you're in that situation just to learn that skill. Not to make those people make any sense, but to learn the skill so that when it really matters, you're better at it.
Cool. I like that. I like that.
All right, Karen. Nice to hear from you. We're going to go to the next person. Hello.
Hi, Eloheim.
Hi there. How are you today?
How are you? It's Jonathan. It's been a weird year, confusion, kind of like. Well, it's basically I haven't worked all year.
Okay. It's only been this year for about 12 hours.
Your device is disconnected.
Are you there?
I'm screwed up. I'm here. I've been working on Ascension and stuff like that, and it's been where I live at. As far as like physical friends go, they think I'm weird because of the things I see, colors and those things, and they're not up to speed with it, which is fine. But it's just kind of like I feel isolated.
Yeah.
In a sense.
A lot of times on the spiritual journey, you get to a point where you have to reevaluate your friendships, and that's just a fact. You get to the point where it's like, would I start this relationship as the person I am today? And it doesn't mean you have to end the relationship. It just means you should know that. Well, I really wouldn't have gotten into this relationship as the person I am today. That's good to know. And if you have friends that you really value and you don't want to change your relationship with them by, drastically change it, by ending it, then perhaps you find common ground that you discuss with them rather than, at the edge of your esoteric life.
Yeah.
So it's to say that, maybe you have some friends that you talk to Star Trek about and some friends you talk Star Wars about. That doesn't make either one of those friendships less valuable. It just means that you know that the common ground you share with this one person, invest in that common ground. It's a bit like when you go to a buffet at a restaurant. You don't have to take something of everything. It's totally okay to have a meat and potatoes relationship or to have a salad relationship, and it doesn't invalidate, and it's not you being fake. It just means that my truth about salad I share with Jim, and my truth about meat and potatoes I share with Carrie.
Right. Because everybody's not going to be like up to the energetic level at certain speed, so it's kind of like to be able to get in and out of it. Because there is duality in the world. And it's starting to break, but it's working with this duality and getting others to understand. But as myself understanding at first, which was some hard times, I lost a lot of things during the process of enlightenment, looking inside, and figured that the outside world to me was really an illusion. Do I want to play the game or do I not want to? And I started thinking, well, what choice do I want? I have to write down these choices. What do I want to do? And it's hard to find a job at the point of what I know, because it's hard for me to go backwards. It's like I want to get involved in energy work, those types of things, and I got to make a choice because it's overwhelming at times. So I'm trying to like encompass the past and the future all into the now.
Your device is disconnected.
So that way I could just have my now moment and I can focus right now. So I'm not all over the place, shooting signals everywhere.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, these are all very important concepts. And what you got to be really careful about is that you find your clarity and the step you're on. Like we talked to Bartek earlier, you've got a lot of powerful ideas there, but none of those offered clarity about the step you're on.
Right.
So for us, finding the clarity about the step you're on each of them is extremely important. So if you really, if you want a job but you haven't found a job, then that's the place to put work on. What's my clarity about it? Not just the things that I can think of that get in the way of me getting a job, but the things that would be an invitation to me in a job environment. Like we told Bartek, you can't It does no good to sit down and just find all the things you don't like. You've got to also make space for the things that you do find appealing. And for you, when you think about getting a job, it's really easy to go, but, I'm not in that space. All right, well, if you're looking for income, then maybe you need to be creative about the other ways that you can bring in income that don't involve a, quote, job. If you don't need income, then you don't need a job. We don't know. We don't know your situation, but we just feel a sense of a lot of information, and you need more clarity so that you can find the actionable step so that you can feel that movement.
Right. Definitely.
Right. So.
Yeah, because there's kind of a lot of information. I need to find a way to put it into action.
Yeah, and that's by finding the step you're on. We talked about it at the beginning of the call, and it's so vital because it's really easy, especially if you're living kind of esoteric, to be out there and not attached to the step you're actually on. So what step are you actually on? Today's step, not 50th step, not maybe someday, but the actual step you're on today. And, we're quite good at helping people with that, and we have the Facebook group, so you can always post in there to get some support from Veronica or book in a private session, and we can really dig into it. But finding the step you're on, staying on it till that step is complete. If the step feels too big, break it into smaller steps until you find a step that feels correctly manageable. And that's a discipline, especially for people who are used to being kind of esoteric. That's a discipline, but you have to remember, you are in a body for a reason. You are in a physical world for a reason. So interacting with the body and the physical world in really skilled ways is actually one of the main reasons you're on Earth. So this isn't just something that's annoying. It is something that's important.
And I'm trying to find ways to basically connect everywhere because we're all one, and it's like I must jump into matter, instead of being out of body all the time. I jump into matter and start connecting everywhere, even though it might feel uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Those areas too, I still have to move through them. And
do it smaller. See, like you said, connect everywhere. No, don't start there. That's
your
50th
device
step.
is disconnect.
Instead, start with, how can I connect right now in one small way? We keep repeating it because it's so important. How can I connect in a small way right now? Oh, I got this house plant right here. I'm just going to feel connected to my house plant for a minute. You're not required to connect with 8 billion people. You're just given opportunities to connect that happen right now. We promise you that's a path that will work, and it won't overwhelm you. All right?
Thank you so much.
It was lovely talking to you. All right. So that's the end of the Q&A. Oh, we pushed the wrong button. Let's put this back on this. Okay, so that was really cool, everyone. Thank you so much for your wonderful contributions, great questions, and an opportunity to expand on what we were saying. Really, really beautiful. So you heard us talking about the cruise. That's in October. You heard us talking about private sessions. You can learn about that on the website. That's Eloheim.com, Eloheim. That's Veronica doing her thing. And we really are happy that Veronica decided to start the year this way and that all of you could make this part of your starting of the year. So thank you very, very much. It was just an absolute pleasure to be with you in this way. So we're going to say goodbye for now. We'll say Happy New Year because that's what one says. And we're here if we can offer you support. Make sure you're in our Connect with Elohim Facebook group so that we can connect with you more deeply. And hopefully 2017 will be a year that we can even meet in person. Wouldn't that be fun? All right then, everyone. Thank you so much. Goodbye.